What up? I'm Ant.
I'm Dev.
I'm in. It's Redzone Rants, man. What's up, Dev? How you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm ready to get going, get another episode down, man.
Yeah, I feel that, man. I see your boys put out a tough one, man.
Hey, man, they scrape by, but it's still fuck Matt Canada.
You know it's like blasphemous? It's like 2 out of your 3 wins are AFC North teams. Like,
Hey, man, that's what happens when you run the north. You know what I'm talking about?
but you have zero North titles in the last
We're not talking.
720
We're
days.
not we're not talking about that.
All right. But anyways, I'm here. I'm a kid. And the biggest winner for me this week, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence, 27 of 35, 315, one touchdown. They were kind of in a neutral site, if you want to say that. I guess London's a weird place, but their atmosphere is kind of crazy though. Like as far as like their fans, it seems like it's like electrifying. So I feel like they kind of won. Travis Etienne had 138 yards, so they kind of won in a game that they weren't favored to win at all. So I'm gonna say Trevor Lawrence. Midway through the game, I end up texting our group chat. I'm like, Trevor Lawrence isn't who we thought he was. Very early judgment to make. I was wrong on that. He ended up balling out, and there was a play literally on the 3rd and 10 to put his team up ahead, like finish the game out. For whatever reason, it's a zero blitz, and he just tells Calvin Ridley, 1-on-1, fade him out. He puts the ball on the money. Like,
Mm-hmm.
play I'm talking about where Ridley's in the slot. Oh my god. And he throws on his back foot too. Like there's not a lot of guys that can just like mechanically that's not even a good throw to make, but
Nah.
it was right on the money. Like there's very few like QBs that could make that. So I'm gonna definitely have to say the Jags. They beat the Bills, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna go
he
with
definitely he overcame them fumbles, bro. He was trying to give that game away, that game for sure.
oh
Uh,
man.
I'm gonna say my biggest winner is the Bengals probably. Joe Burrow, I think looked as good as he's looked all season. He was moving. He was putting the ball deep, which he hadn't really done so far. Jamar Chase is always fucking open, so they just need to get him the ball. And Joe
40
Burrow did. He did. He got three of them things. But I think the biggest takeaway from that game for them is the fact that Joe Burrow was moving around um, very efficiently. He was making the proper reads. It felt like so far this year he's been kind of a one read and get rid of the ball kind of guy because he's not able to extend plays or anything like that. But he looked as good as he has all year, and it was against the Cardinals. But if this could be one of those games for them that kind of unlocks everything, opens up the floodgates, so to speak. And if they can build off of this game, then they'll be all the way back in a couple of weeks.
you're gonna make me cry, honestly. That took a lot for you to say that.
Oh, it did.
It
And the
it
only
did.
reason I said it is because the only other team I wrote down right now is the Jaguars, and you took that. So,
You
I
know,
had to go a little off script for real and go Bengals, but
I don't mind it. A random stat from that. I think I sent it to our group chat earlier. The wide open receivers, like receivers that are deemed wide open, like wide open via next gen ESPN stats. This is their like what they deem wide open. Jamar Chase has 40, Puka has 30, and then there's a dead tie with 25 between Tyreek Hill and AJ Brown. So
mm-hmm.
Jamar Chase really wasn't lying when he said, and I quote, "I'm always bleeping open." He was not lying at all. Like he
Not at
clear
all.
like 40 to 30. And when you think about it, he's been open, he's been wide open 15 more times than not Jalen Waddle, but Tyreek Hill. And you think
Yeah.
like with that speed and like it's just crazy to think about because I think Jamar is very underratedly slept on with his speed. I think he's a very
Mm-hmm.
well top speed receiver in the league. So it's crazy you picked them. I would have went with the Steelers as well. I mean, somehow they got another freaking win, which I'm
They won't be any sort of my biggest winner until they change up the offensive coordinator out there.
bro. I
They
checked
could
this.
lose. They could fire their offensive coordinator and lose, and I think they'd still be my biggest winner because they got rid of their offensive coordinator. That's the type of hater shit I'm on with him right now.
Yeah, that's You're like diabolically hating right now. He like won a game.
Fuck that guy. Come on. Get him out of here, man.
Did you see the clip where you guys scored on like the game-winning touchdown and Matt Canada like had no expression?
No reaction at all.
Everyone
That's
else was
because
like,
Kenny
"No."
checked the play, man. Kenny caught a go ball and changed the protection at the line of scrimmage. That wasn't Matt Canada's route.
What is?
He's mad because Kenny scrapped the fucking bullshit halfback dive up the middle he called on third down or something like that.
I mean,
Fuck Matt Canada.
I think you were playing. Wasn't it 10-8 though at that point?
No, it was no, we had 11, I think, because
But
we scored a touchdown and we didn't get the 2-point conversion. It was some funky bullshit. We kicked like 3 field goals, got a safety, and got a touchdown with no 2-point conversion. It was some funky bullshit to get to 17, but yeah, we were up. Um, I don't know. We was down, and then we fumbled, and I thought that they were going to take the lead with a touchdown. But then we got an interception, and were able to drive down the field on some crazy shit. And fuck Matt Canada.
now that we're leading into this game, that actually my biggest loser, the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson has the most fumbles in the NFL, which kind of random that I'm bringing him up when I just said he was the second best QB at that point in week 4. But I mean, I guess it's fluent. I got to call it how I see it. Lamar, I don't want to say he totally lost in the game. They had 8 drops for, I think, ESPN stat. Dan Olowski's stat said 180 yards. So it's what they could have got if they caught all the passes. And I think there was a touchdown. Nelson Aguilar probably walks in if he catches his, but
Yeah. There's a certain point to where a certain amount of drops stops becoming, oh, we got lucky because they dropped 1 or 2, and then
no,
it just turns into they're just straight up ass. They're
bro,
just ass. They couldn't catch.
Rashard Bateman and Odell Beckham through 5 weeks of playing football. Can you guess how much yards they've combined for? Like you will never believe it.
A regular day for Puka Nakua.
Bro, they have 148 total yards. Like I don't know, like who they. And I told people this, like you're hating on Odell because he won a Super Bowl. I was like, bro, I'm happy that he got a Super Bowl. Obviously not against the Bengals, but bro, like I'm calling it how I see it. Like he wasn't even healthy that season. Like truth be told,
Nah,
so
what? Honestly though, about that game, I think that was a very well thrown game by Lamar Jackson. Um, he did have, you know, the fumble or whatever, but he was putting the ball where he needed to. His guys just were not catching anything. And then he had poor placement on that touchdown or interception. He threw up a fade to Odell Beckham, which trying that in 2023 is kind of crazy. But he, other than that throw, I think his placement was very on the money, and it's a tough way to lose when you got
as,
8 drops in one game.
as a whole, it's just a loss because I mean, looking at the schedule, that's them are the games that you think they have won,
Yeah,
especially when you're in already, late in the game. So that's just like look, you know how tough the North is. Those are the games you just have to win. Like you have it already won. You got Kenny Pickett. I don't even want to say you got him on the ropes because he's nobody to even like have on the ropes. Like you just holding
yeah,
the
they
lead.
were
Pickett,
they were uh, they were up 10-5 with 5 minutes left, and we got that safety to make it 10-5, and then Gunnar Olszewski, bum ass, fumbled on the punt return and set them up with under 5 minutes, and they were within the 30-yard line. So at that point, I was convinced the game was going to be over. But hey, that's just how AFC North football goes sometimes, I guess.
hey, TJ Watt might be DPOY right now.
That's a bad man, man.
He's a fucking maniac, bro. Like I seen
Did
him
you
like
see that injury that he played through?
with the finger.
Yeah, torn ligaments and shit like that in his finger.
Yeah, they said he like popped it back in place like himself.
Yeah, that's just crazy. Hey, without him, bro, we're probably sitting at 1 win max right now.
Bro, on some funny shit. I tried some tough shit like that, bro. I like, bro. You can ask my homies that played. it was freshman year football. I had like broke my knuckle and I had dislocated my finger. And like 14-year-old me, I'm like, I'm going to the league. Put me back in, man. So put this bitch back in place. I'm, whoo, motherfucker. Boy, my shit was on fire so bad, Dev. Man,
Oof.
it really is a different type of animal. Better than me.
Mhm.
I'm not built like that. But who's your biggest loser, man?
Man, I got the Cowboys, and I've been waiting to get this going because uh,
Here,
they've played Daniel Jones, Zach Wilson,
Joshua Dobbs.
Joshua Dobbs, who they lost to, and now they're coming in and
He's got
playing the huh?
he's got game.
Josh Dobbs.
He's a baller.
He's outperformed himself this year. Let's say that. He's been pretty good because, like, who's Josh Dobbs? You know what I'm saying? Like, he's played pretty good
Yeah,
for Josh Dobbs standards, but
yeah.
he's not a
I'm,
guy who should have beat the Dallas Cowboys.
no, I'm trolling, bro. I mean, Josh Dobbs is Josh Dobbs. Like he's cute. Like he's QB too.
Yeah, and then they come into town for San Francisco, the first real game of the season for them,
Yeah.
and they
Lock,
get mopped up and down the field for 60 minutes straight. All gas, no breaks.
bro.
Embarrassing.
Kyle Shanahan literally bent over the Dallas Cowboys. Like
That's crazy. But yeah, he did for sure. Up and down the field, bro.
I'm sorry, bro. That just like, bro, pay the fucking light bill. But it's just crazy because when you think about it, they're coming into and Michael's like, now it's personal. Like,
Boy, it should have been personal. They whooped your ass in the playoffs.
bro, all I know is the Chiefs beat us once out of 4 times, and it's still personal. Like, it's still personal. Like, I didn't even like watching the QB series because Mahomes was there. Like, personal it
I
was.
think the biggest downfall of the Dallas Cowboys is going to continue to be Dak Prescott. I think he fucking stinks. He's talking about he's not going to throw 10 interceptions this year. He just threw 3 in one game. Um, he's not good when the lights are brightest. He never really has been.
Is
Since he got his big contract extension, they've won like one playoff game or some shit like that. And he's kind of stinky, bro. They need to move on from him.
I'd love to like just keep adding on the pile, to keep Dak, but it wasn't all Dak. Believe it or
No,
not,
it wasn't. That
42.
defense was getting
Like,
shredded up.
I think we overestimated the like. I don't know. Maybe the defense can't be the best defense, but I think they're still top 5 for sure, top 6 ish. But their defense, they got to be held accountable. Purdy got sacked one time, and it wasn't even a real sack. It was one of the broken runs, where he's just trying to escape. And I thought he had got past the line, but
Micah Parsons didn't do shit.
bro, uh, 3 QB hurries and one tackle. Like, come on,
Yeah,
bro.
that
Trent
ain't
Williams
shit, bro.
putting him like wherever he wanted to. Like, come on, bro. Like you. There's nothing wrong with that because he is the best left tackle in the game, if you ask me. Like,
Oh, for sure.
but Micah has to get better. I mean, you can't.
Yeah, that's unacceptable, especially because he's very fluent in his game and he's always kind of been all over the place as far as where he lines up, and he's still not able to produce at all.
The way I see it, they almost go not as just Micah, but as the defense. Because as bad as we want to, blast for Dak in the playoff game, did not get turned like, and they've been the leading turnover team in the NFL for the last 3 years. They have not got any turnovers playing the night. As
Yeah,
bad as Dak is, the defense doesn't show up either. For whatever maybe the Niners just don't make the same throws, errors, but it doesn't happen as a lot. So
yeah. Dak, that team only goes as far as Dak goes. They got some key injuries piling up on that defense with Leighton Vander Esch going down with the neck injury. They got Diggs, who's obviously been out. That defense, they didn't look too high against their first real offense of the season. Now, thankfully for them, they don't have to play the Cowboys again until at least January football, but or they don't have to play the Niners again until then. But the Cowboys, man, they my biggest loser pretty easily.
They're lost cause until not just Dak, but I mean they have no leadership on the team. It's
Mm.
I don't say that because I never said that about NFL teams, but I just don't know like anyone that sticks out. At least eye test to me like gets anybody riled up. It's definitely not Mike McCarthy. I'll tell you that. So
No, definitely ain't Jerry Jones either. I think this team is destined to fail as long as they're under Jerry Jones's ownership.
I don't know if I don't know how far they go. I know there's two teams they're not going to match up well against, and that's the Eagles and the Niners.
Oh
Now
yeah.
the may be able to beat them. They play the Lions later on in the season, so we'll see how that matchup goes. But as far as like the rest of the defense, I mean Van Der Esch or what's his name?
Van
Van
Der Esch. Yeah,
yeah,
Leighton.
man, he had 10 tackles, man. That was the like most stat padding 10. Like, bro, he was getting put on his ass every play. Like,
Oh,
he's making these tackles 10 yards down the field, and like I seen I listened to Undisputed. I heard Skip Bayless like he was playing his ass off, and I'm like, man, this guy's losing in the line of scrimmage. Like he pushed back 8 yards, and that's why the tackle happens. I mean, they have a lot of. I think the good news for them is they have a lot of deficiencies on defense, but they wouldn't have been able to see it if they didn't play San Fran. So
oh, sure. Yeah.
you got to get your, maybe you just got to get your ass beat a couple times to, you know, know how to fight.
Yeah, I think the 49ers were just starting to fuck around with them a little bit towards the end. That offense, I think they kind of emptied the clip, so to speak. Like they went to everything against the Cowboys and just they made it personal coming into it. I think Shanahan emptied the clip. He gave Dallas a little bit of everything he has to offer, and it fucked them up. They weren't ready for it at all.
Bro, the worst thing about that for Dallas is they go to San Diego, not San Diego, but Los Angeles on Monday night. So Justin Herbert's not going to be, I guess, easier. I work with a lot of Cowboy fans. We're not worried about them though. I'm like, all right, bro. You you think Brock Purdy's good, which I do think he's good. Our next topic. But watch what Justin Herbert's going to do. Herbert's going to do something, man. I'm telling you. So
Oh,
they're
for sure.
but speaking of Purdy, since we're talking about him, it's my MVP for 5 weeks right now. I guess it's not the big shocker. 9 touchdowns, 0 ints, 5-0. He's got the
That's
number
your
one
MVP.
through 5 weeks. It's fluent. I got to see more right now. I mean, Mahomes. It looks like he's getting bailed out. His numbers aren't really, And the only other person, I mean, Jalen Hurts is 5-0 as well, but he's thrown 4 interceptions with only 6 TDs. So I mean, Purdy has thrown 9 TDs and 0 ints. He's number one in passer rating and, I mean, QBR. If any other QB in the league was 5-0 with top five numbers, why wouldn't they be like? I feel like if Burrow had these same numbers, it wouldn't even be a question.
That's fair. That's fair. I can
No, you,
see that. I can see that.
no,
I
you
could.
can't. It's time for you to start coming around because just because you're MVP don't necessarily mean it's fluent. First of all, it's fluent.
No, for sure, for sure.
I feel like Brock Purdy.
I guess it just depends on like the true definition of MVP, like most valuable player. And you know, Brock, he's been balling. He really has. He's been doing what he needs to do, and that's get the ball to his playmakers, and they do what they're supposed to do, and they make them plays.
The way you talk is you say they win with and they can win despite, but you never say they win because of.
Mm-hmm. Because I don't think they win because of Brock Purdy.
There's a guy named Dak Prescott who just cannot. start a season with 9 TDs and 0 INTs. And I believe if Dak played and it wouldn't matter. He would still be Dak. Like
That very well may be true. Um, but in the same breath, my MVP is actually probably the biggest impact on that offense over the last several many games, going back into last season, is Christian McCaffrey. I think he has been the most valuable player on that offense. He's first in yards, first in touchdowns. He's first in the whole league in runs that went for first downs. Um, his on pace is crazy. He scored a touchdown in every game,
yeah,
basically since he's been there. He's running any route you need him to. He's breaking tackles. He's doing fucking everything. He's on pace for like 2,400 yards, almost 30 total touchdowns. If he gets anywhere in the 20s for touchdowns, I mean, that's the type of shit that LT was doing when he won MVP. And Adrian Peterson, his MVP season was absurd too. So I feel like if McCaffrey's over 2,300 total yards and over 24 total touchdowns, and I think that that's a serious discussion that needs to be had as we finally break the mold of MVP strictly being a quarterback award. I think there's been several arguments over the last few years in general that some non-quarterbacks could have won MVP since Adrian Peterson.
I'm,
I think that the league should definitely start going to some more non-quarterbacks.
I could agree, but the problem is they won't. So that's kind of why
That
they
is the problem.
they
Although
usually
Christian McCaffrey is moving up the ranks pretty quickly on as far as odds go on sports books. He's I think now sixth in the league for MVP voting, which is kind of crazy considering how biased towards quarterbacks all that shit goes. It always leans towards the quarterback.
Jettas
But
was
he is like sixth right now.
last year. Wasn't Jettas top 4 or top 5?
Uh, I think so. I think he was in the first half of the season, but then that like the closer towards the end of the season it got, it's like those talks almost faded away more and more. This that kind of shit happens. Like J.J. Watt, I mean, he should have won an MVP since then. Justin Jefferson, there's plenty of really
Aaron Donald.
good seasons. Aaron Donald, there's really good non-quarterbacks who could have had a discussion, but it should just never came through. But as of right now, like you said, it's fluent. Christian McCaffrey, though, I think he's just balling out on some shit we haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, he's very elite. He's like I didn't think it would translate production wise just because they had so many weapons. Like when he
That's
first
my thing too. When he came, I'm like, yeah, he's a nice piece, but like they got so much already. Is he really gonna be like just as productive? And he's been, if not more productive. So it's kind of crazy to watch. But yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah, they use him like the almost like they run the offense through him and Debo in a way because they're interchangeable, which is like
Yeah,
really seen that on the same offense before. Like someone who goes to running back and that guy will flip out to receiver, or vice versa. It's a pretty nice, unique way to use players too. Kyle Shanahan he being his Duffy. I'll give him
dude,
that.
he be in the lab. He's one of the great offensive scheming minds that we've probably ever seen. To be honest, he's up there with the Andy Reeds, and
His
they all kind of come
father
from.
now don't sleep on that. His father did win a Super Bowl as a head coach.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Father, his father put up 30 points a game at a time where the average I think was 26. So his
Yeah,
father likes fast stuff.
oh for sure.
But yeah, you ready to end it up with the top 5 receivers, man? I'm gonna let you start this, man.
All right. Right now, my number one wide receiver in the NFL, Tyreek Hill. Um, he's got 36 catches. He's over 650 yards so far, 5 touchdowns. He's on 130 yards per game average, which is like stupid.
Yeah,
Honestly, I don't obviously see that upholding, but then again, you never know nowadays because, especially with all the speed in that offense, dude, it's like the shit just opens up like the floodgates.
I don't even know who you take away.
Not at all. Number two, I got Justin Jefferson. He's honestly probably got a really strong case for the number one. That one and two is pretty fluent and pretty close. He's also got 36 catches. He's got over 570 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he's over 114 a game. So he's on a crazy pace too. But he just went down with injury, and they're talking the 4 week minimum for IR may not even be enough. So I
Ooh,
don't even know how much more of Justin Jefferson we'll even see this year, especially if they continue to lose and he hasn't signed an extension.
yeah. So
I don't see, I don't see any way he like rushes back at all.
not at all.
Uh, Number three and four are also very fluent. Number three, I got Stephon Diggs, and number four, I got Jamar Chase. I think they're Jamar Chase. He kind of his numbers wise are very, I guess, lopsided. He had this one game against the Cardinals that kind of got him back to where he should have been. But obviously with an injured quarterback the first few weeks, his numbers were gonna take a step backwards anyways. But Diggs has been balling out. He's got 5 touchdowns, um, and he's also got shit. What I write down?
Hmm.
Yeah, nah, he's balling out. He's balling out with Josh Allen out there. Jamar Chase is back though, and he does lead the league in wide open routes. So as Joe Burrow can start getting him the ball more, and I think his numbers will skyrocket up. And number five, I got AJ Brown, who's
Hmm.
been a quiet baller in an offense that's really built for running, more so than passing, I'd say. And he's still balling out. He's got 3 touchdowns. He's over 108 yards a game. So he's a baller.
I like that. So mine is 1 through 2. I share. I'm gonna go with Tyreek Hill, most explosive player in the game, and then two, I'm gonna go with Jetta. So I think is all around the best, craftiest receiver in the game.
Yeah.
So we can share that one. I'm gonna go with Jamar for three. It's fluent though. It's obvious, and I like Diggs. Five. I like Devontae Adams. He's kind of doing it with Jimmy G, who's been less efficient as he has in the past years. So maybe that's a non-product of being Kyle Shanahan and Bill Belichick's QB. But I mean, he's under McDaniel, so it still should be the same system. But he ain't got it right. But dating back to last year when he played with Jarrett Stidham and Derek Carr, 1,700 yards last year. This year, he's still top 5 in receptions, top 6 in receiving yards. So it's tough for me to
Yeah,
not.
he's also got 3 touchdowns. I had him in my choices too. I got him at number 6 because I think he's doing, to his standard, it's maybe not on the same like level as his past, but he's also doing it with a lot less throwing to him. So, I think he's definitely deserving of one of those top receiver talks always.
I'll say this about the tier 1 of receivers. I think there's a lot more than 5 of them. I'm gonna say there's probably like 9 to 11 real tier 1 receivers. So
Oh yeah, there's a lot of talent in that position in the league nowadays for sure.
outside of my 5 I named, I can give you 6 more, like a Devontae, or not Devontae, but a DJ Moore. You still got Mike Evans. You still got what's that one guy's name that we were just talking about? Oh, AJ Brown. Yeah, still. You still got. I
Cooper
mean,
Cup.
oh yeah, obviously Cooper Cup. He's still there. I don't know where CD is because I'm still not set if he's a tier 1 guy yet. I still feel like he's at the top of the tier 2.
Yeah,
Almost
I think he's like upper tier 2 probably. Uh,
like
Speaking of
he's
him,
in
did
like.
you see somebody asked Jerry Jones if he should get more targets or something like that? Talking about
Oh, he.
CD Lamb, and Jerry Jones was like, "No, I don't think so." Like, damn, what kind of
Yeah.
hating ass shit is that?
Well, Dez came out on Twitter, and he quoted the interview, and he's like, Jerry basically was trying to do the same thing to me when my contract was up. Like come to the table and you can say, well, last year you didn't get so and so, but I
Yeah,
doubt Jerry had that much pull in what the team's doing. Believe it or not, I don't think
I
he's gonna
don't
tell.
know, man. I feel like Jerry's got that whole team held up like puppets, man. I think he's running that shit more than we know.
I don't know if he's running it as far as like strategic wise though. Like
Probably
he
not. He's probably too old for all that shit.
like come on, bro. He's like 90 years old, bro. No way he's going X's and O's. Like, but there's so many guys. You still got shout out DJ Moore too. Before we get off topic, 3
Oh
TDs,
yeah,
200 yards, eight catches, NFC Offensive Player of the Week. It kind of took my money, obviously, because you weren't supposed to win that game. But
nah.
hey, he bought out.
Yeah, you got guys like Jalen, guys that have teams that have a second guy like Jalen Waddle. The Eagles got Devonta Smith. The
T.
Bengals got what's
T.
his face T Higgins. So there's a lot of teams that got a second guy who are like debatable number ones on other teams. So there's a lot of talent at wide receiver throughout the whole league for real.
Yeah, so for them debatable guys, I put in the tier two. That's why he's at the top of that tier. But for whatever reason, Dak took a step back when Amari Cooper was traded, and he still like Cooper still has the same production in Cleveland. So
Yeah,
I'm still willing to put Cooper as in that wide receiver one bracket. It's kind of weird that Brandon Cooks just showed up and all of a sudden he can't get yards, and this guy's
I
a
know. I know he's always been a consistent 1,000 yard guy every year in his career for real. So that's kind of surprising to me too.
I think they're just trying to protect Dak so much in that offense that they move to a run heavy. Kind of the
I
same game.
think it has a lot to do with his whole "I'm not going to throw 10 interceptions this year" thing. I think
Yeah,
he's playing too conservative, and he's trying to protect his stats because he don't want his word going back on.
yeah. The only downfall with that is you can't play like that against great offensive teams that you're probably going to see in the Lions can probably put up 28 a game, 29 a game in the playoffs. Like
Oh
that's
yeah,
another I have to see. Like you play Justin Herbert, Monday. See if you can just play conservative football that game. Like they're
yeah.
going for 2023 minimum. Like so, it'll be interesting because there's going to be a time where they're going to tell Dak you're going to have to be better than the QB across from you.
Oh, for
So,
sure.
but yeah, man, that's my top five, man. I'm gonna leave it off with T. Higgins may be able to enter this top 10-ish range toward the end of the season, though.
It depends on if they're all the way back or not. If Joe Burrow is all the way back, which he looked like he's heading that way for sure, then T Higgins is definitely a baller. I don't know that he stays there after this season though.
Uh, I say what I want to do is I want us to franchise tag him.
Do you think he'd play on the tag? I know a lot of guys nowadays are hating
Bates
on the tag.
Bates did.
Yeah, and then Bates left, didn't he?
Nah, yeah, but I mean, he knew he wasn't getting signed back. For what we did is usually you'll put a player on the tag when you plan on, bringing him back. We just put players on tags to extend a championship window at this point. So
Mm,
hoping maybe
I
we
can
can,
see that for sure.
I don't know, get you 17 more games with T. If you really believe Joe Burrow and Jamar who can get you a ring, go ahead and get your T. Like T wasn't hurt to be there. I don't want to see T go. Great part in what doing the 5-3. So
Is
those are my.
did the Bengals got the Seahawks this week?
Yeah, it'll be a tough one, but
What's your predictions for that one?
mm, last time we played Geno Smith in Cincinnati, we won the game 49-9, and he's a New York Jet. I
Hey
think
man,
we
we Geno Smith. We like to pretend that he's been a Seahawk for life, and his career's only been 2 years long.
yeah. So we'll go off new Geno. I'm 20, 23-17 Cincinnati. It'll
I
be
could
low.
see. I feel like it will be lower scoring. I feel like I think it might be like real nasty, like bullshit scores. Like real defensive game, I feel like,
Oh,
unless
for sure.
Geno Smith decides to turn back the clock, so to speak, and play like a New York Jet again, then Cincinnati might open the floodgates on them early and run them boys out of town.
Pittsburgh home this week?
Yeah, they got an off week,
Yeah, that's what.
and they
So
still fired that fucking offensive coordinator, man.
yeah, we go into our bye like tied for first. So I need like a Browns loss, which Watson looking like he isn't playing. And I need a Ravens loss who plays in London against the Titans, which I don't know what Titans team
What
we
is
get.
going on with that? Speaking of Watson, because when he got hurt, I didn't think he was hurt until they're like, all right, he's missing one game, and then they got their bye week, and now they're back from their bye week, and they're like, he still might not play. Like, bro,
What's more,
what's going on with his shoulder, man?
the head coach and the GM are saying two totally different things. And same with
Mm,
Watson. So head coach like Kevin Stefanski, he's under the impression Watson's day to day and he's playing, while the GM's kind of like taking the approach in the media, like when he's healthy, he's healthy. We're not going to rush our star QB out there, which is like kind of far fetched from your head coach is saying guys probably going to suit up on Sunday. So it's
yeah,
kind
that
of
is interesting. I wonder if it has anything to do with any words they got in their contract where a certain amount of games played or something like that. They're trying to get some money back off of him or something like that. I have heard something around those words too. People think it
yeah.
could be a contract thing and anything like that. But that's definitely interesting because I didn't think it was serious enough of an injury to miss this much time.
Yeah, rotator cuff contusion. That's pretty painful,
Oh
especially when
yeah,
you're so. It'll be interesting because it's one of them injuries you definitely don't want to force someone back, especially when they're throwing with that shoulder probably 30 or 40 times a game. So they probably I don't know if I'm the investor, I would say sit the $230 million guy out. But it sounds biased coming from the op who just wanted his QB just to play. So I'll I'll leave it there.
yeah, $270 million quarterback.
Hey, we don't have 230 million of it guaranteed though, man. I think
Nah,
Burrow,
that's true. That guaranteed figure is crazy.
yeah, Burrow only got like it'll be definitely interesting
Oh, for sure.
on the left.
I
But
don't know. You got anything else though, man?
yeah, it's kind of crazy how things been happening. But
Yeah, you got
I
anything else?
got for no, that's all I got for tonight, man.
Hey, man, me too. I think we had a pretty good episode.
Yeah, man. Till next time, y'all. It's been Redzone Rants. I'm in.
I'm dead, man.